And sometimes, the most powerful ideas are born far from the spotlight. Long before the world knew TikTok, long before its videos captivated millions every second, there was a 19-year-old kid sitting in a tiny dorm room in Beijing. He had dropped out of school, shocking his professors and worrying his parents, because there was a fire inside him he couldn't ignore. By day, he held odd tech gigs to pay the bills. By night, he stayed up until his eyes blurred, glued to his laptop, watching people scroll endlessly through their phones, consumed by endless feeds of photos and videos. He kept asking himself one question: what if there was a way to make short, addicting videos that felt personal to every user? And that was the first spark. While everyone else chased big, obvious ideas, he focused on something different. Tiny, addictive clips that pulled you deeper every time you swiped. And so, in his tiny apartment, strewn with empty noodle cups and wires, he began working on the blueprint of an app that nobody could imagine yet. And sometimes, the biggest journeys begin with the smallest steps. He was just one person, a college dropout, working with a battered laptop and a patchwork internet connection. Tech companies weren't listening. Investors laughed and told him there was already too much competition. YouTube, they'd say. Vine, they'd add. You can't possibly do this, but something kept him going. Every rejection fueled his resolve. Every failed pitch was met with another night of coding. And slowly, almost invisibly, the project took shape. He built an algorithm that could read what a person liked, what they shared, what they ignored, so every swipe was tailored just for them. That was the secret sauce. And when Douyin, his first version of the app, finally went live in China, he wasn't expecting much. A few thousand downloads at most. But to his shock, the numbers began to climb. And climb. And climb some more. First into the tens of thousands, then into the millions. And a feeling began to grow inside him. Maybe this crazy idea wasn't so crazy after all. And sometimes one quiet success can change the world overnight. When Douyin took off in China, he knew this was just the beginning. The real test was whether people outside of China would care. So he and his team tweaked the app, gave it a catchy new international name, TikTok, and sent it out into the world. And like a match in dry grass, it spread. Suddenly, teenagers in Los Angeles were making dance videos to Chinese pop songs. Suddenly, comedians in London were uploading 15-second skits that went viral overnight. Suddenly, the app was everywhere. On every phone, in every pocket, at every party. And nobody could believe that one college dropout, someone who had been told to stay in school and follow the safe path, had built the app that the entire world was now glued to. And the most incredible part? This was just the start. He was going to make sure of that. And sometimes, the biggest victories come when nobody expects you to win. By 2018, TikTok was exploding across countries. But it wasn't the only player in the game. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Each had deep pockets, millions of loyal users, and a strong foothold in every market. Analysts laughed at TikTok's chances. Why would anyone jump ship to an app built halfway across the world by a small team led by a dropout? But TikTok wasn't trying to be them. It was something different. Its secret was the For You page. An algorithm so good it felt like TikTok could read your mind, feeding you clip after clip perfectly tuned to your taste. And as its addictiveness took hold, the giants began to pay attention, suddenly copying features, launching their own short-form videos, scrambling to keep up. And for the dropout who'd been ignored at first, that was proof he had built something nobody could take lightly anymore. And sometimes, innovation comes with a price. But as TikTok's star rose, so did the scrutiny. Suddenly, lawmakers and media began to question its influence. They whispered about privacy risks and data security, especially because it came from China, sparking debates that went all the way to Washington, D.C. and capitals across Europe. Some countries banned the app outright. Others threatened to. Investors pulled back, and for the dropout who had poured his soul into this platform, it felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, wondering if all of this could come crashing down overnight. Yet even then, he kept pushing, building transparency teams, making partnerships with local businesses, and proving that TikTok wasn't going to vanish quietly into the noise. And slowly, by innovating faster and listening harder, he held the company together as it fought its toughest battle yet. And sometimes, a bold idea doesn't just grow, it shapes the world around it. Despite the turbulence, TikTok became unstoppable. Every scroll, every swipe wasn't just entertainment anymore. It was becoming the language of an entire generation. Music tracks went viral overnight. New slang was invented by teenagers in bedrooms. And anyone with a phone could feel like they belonged to something global and alive. And at the center of it all was the dropout who had started this in secret, now celebrated as one of the most daring founders of his time. But this was more than an app now. This was a movement. And looking back at where it began, one kid and one crazy dream, he knew they weren't even close to finished. And sometimes, one bold idea can shape an entire era. By the time TikTok celebrated its billionth user, the world had changed forever. The dropout who once coded into the night was now at the helm of one of the most famous companies on Earth. His face splashed across magazine covers, his story told in classrooms, and his app helping define what entertainment looked like in the 21st century. And while copycats had come and gone, TikTok remained unique, not just a product, but a cultural spark. Teenagers in every corner of the world were expressing themselves in ways nobody had thought possible before. And what began as a passion project was now one of the most powerful engines for creativity and connection the world had ever seen. And sometimes, what you create can outgrow even your wildest dreams. Looking back, the dropout never forgot where he started. A teenager hunched over a laptop, tinkering with a dream nobody else could see. He thought of all the late nights, the failures, the skepticism, and the fire that kept him going. And as he watched TikTok continue to evolve, branching into education, live streams, shopping, and so much more, he knew the app was more than entertainment. It was proof that one determined soul could change the rhythm of the world forever. And as the cameras faded and the story closed, his message was simple. Your most powerful idea might begin where nobody expects it. And if you believe in it enough, one day the whole world will dance along.